Your latest news update from Western Mass News.
Good Monday afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Pisano with a look at your headlines. The ongoing debt ceiling debate continues as President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy get ready to meet tonight to try to strike a budget deal to avert an economic crisis. The federal government could run out of cash to pay its bills by June 1st. If a deal isn't reached by then, it could impact things like Social Security, 401ks, and benefits for veterans. Some relief may be on the way for Eversource customers. The company has filed for reduced electric supply rates. It comes after energy prices hit historic highs in New England in 2022. Now, if the rate cut is approved, customers could save an average of $42 a month on their electric bills beginning July 1st. One of the Boston Marathon's most beloved athletes, Rick Hoyt, has died at the age of 61. Hoyt's family announcing today he died due to complications with his respiratory system. Hoyt was a longtime staple on the course, pushed in his wheelchair by his dad, Dick, for more than 4 decades, from 1981 to 2014. He was a quadriplegic with cerebral palsy. Hoyt retired from competition in 2021, months after the death of his father.
I'm meteorologist Jana Brown with a check of your forecast. Skies remain partly cloudy to mostly clear tonight. A little patchy fog across the valley possible well after midnight. Temperatures cooling off a bit more, dropping down to the lower to middle 40s for most. Then we head into our Tuesday looking similar to today. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds. Might be a little hazy due to wildfire smoke at times, especially early and late in the day. Temperatures seasonable. We're back into the low to mid 70s with a healthier breeze coming in out of the south. Wind could gust up to 15 or 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. A cold front approaches on Wednesday, bringing us a chance for a few showers. This is going to be at the end of the day, though, so maybe a few hours before sunset and then possibly continuing to about midnight. We're not expecting much, though, and high pressure builds right back in behind the front with a shot of cool but brief cool air for Thursday. Friday is looking like it starts warming up a little bit. We're going to be keeping an eye on a storm system across the deep south that may bring some wet weather for the upcoming holiday weekend. So Wednesday, a late day shower. We're dry Thursday with highs in the mid 60s and breezy. Sunny for Friday with a high of 72. It gets warmer for the weekend with patchy clouds.
Stay with Western Mass News on air, online, and on our app throughout the day for breaking news, weather, and exclusive content.